Don Hastings was a television pioneer whose career began in the earliest days of the medium as the second actor to play the Video Ranger on Captain Video and his Video Rangers. But his defining role, and one of the longest in television history, was that of the noble Dr. Bob Hughes on As the World Turns. Hastings joined the cast in 1960, taking over the role, and remained with the show for its entire 50-year run, right up to the final episode in 2010. Bob Hughes was the heart of Oakdale, a dedicated doctor, a loving husband, and the steady hand that guided his family through 5 decades of drama. His 50-year portrayal created a seamless and beloved character who grew from a young intern to the wise and respected chief of staff at Memorial Hospital. His enduring on-screen marriage to Katherine Hayes' Kim was a fan favorite for decades. After the show ended, Hastings retired to a well-deserved private life. He passed away on June 30th, 2024, at the age of 90, at his home in Santa Monica, California, following a battle with cancer. His death marked the passing of one of the last great titans of daytime's golden age. The news was met with an incredible outpouring of tributes from across the entertainment world, celebrating his remarkable career and his legendary kindness. Following his passing, a private service was held for his family. Don Hastings was cremated, and as per his wishes, his ashes were given to his loved ones. His final resting place is a private family matter. While there is no public grave, his monument is his unparalleled 50-year legacy as Dr. Bob Hughes, a record of dedication that is unlikely ever to be matched. Rosemary Prince was one of the original superstars of daytime television, creating the role of the virtuous and often tormented Penny Hughes on the very first episode of As the World Turns in 1956. For 12 years, she was the show's central heroine. Penny's star-crossed romance with Jeff Baker was the defining storyline of the show's first decade, captivating a nation and making Prince a household name. Her character endured amnesia, kidnappings, and countless heartbreaks, and the audience followed her every step of the way. She chose to leave the show in 1968 at the height of her fame to pursue a career in the theater, a move that was almost unheard of at the time. Though she returned for brief guest appearances over the years, her original run cemented her status as a television icon. After a long and successful career, primarily on the stage, Rosemary Prince passed away on August 15, 2024, at the age of 94, in her home in the Netherlands, where she had lived for many years. Her death was announced by her family and was noted as being from natural causes. As a resident of the Netherlands for the latter part of her life, her final arrangements were made there, away from the spotlight of her American television fame. Information regarding her specific burial or cremation has been kept private by her estate. There is no known public grave in the United States. Her legacy remains her groundbreaking work as daytime's first true leading lady, a performance that set the standard for generations of soap opera heroines to come. Henderson Forsyth was a highly respected Tony Award-winning actor of the stage, but to millions of television viewers, he was the kind and compassionate Dr. David Stewart on As the World Turns. He played the role for 32 years, from 1960 to 1992, making him one of the longest-serving actors in the show's history. Dr. Stewart was a pillar of the Oakdale community, a dedicated physician known for his integrity and his gentle bedside manner. His tumultuous marriage to Ellen Lowell was a central storyline for decades. Forsyth brought a deep sense of humanity and decency to the role, creating a character that audiences trusted and admired. He was a quintessential good guy in a genre filled with villains and anti-heroes, and his steady presence was a cornerstone of the show for more than 3 decades. After retiring from the show, Henderson Forsyth enjoyed a quiet life. He passed away from natural causes on April 17, 2006, at the age of 88 in Williamsburg, Virginia, where he had been living in a retirement community. His death was peaceful, marking the end of a long and distinguished life and career. After a memorial service attended by family and friends, he was laid to rest at Cedar Grove Cemetery in Williamsburg. It is a historic and beautiful cemetery, providing a tranquil final resting place. His grave is marked by a simple, elegant headstone shared with his wife, Dorothea, who had passed away years earlier. It is a humble tribute to a man who, for so many years, portrayed the very picture of kindness and integrity on television screens across America. Nicholas Coster was a veteran actor with a commanding presence, known for his roles on both daytime and primetime television, including a long and memorable run as the wealthy patriarch Lionel Lockridge on the soap opera Santa Barbara. His distinguished career also included a stop in Oakdale. From 1993 to 1995, Coster played the role of Eduardo Grimaldi, a character connected to the show's popular Lucinda Walsh storyline. He brought his signature gravitas to the role, creating a memorable character who was both sophisticated and formidable. Coster was a working actor for over 60 years, with credits ranging from All the President's Men to Star Trek: The Next Generation. But he always held a special place in the hearts of daytime fans. Coster remained active in his later years, not only in acting but also in his passion for sailing and scuba diving, establishing a foundation that helped teach disabled individuals how to sail. He passed away on June 26, 2023, in a hospital in Florida at the age of 89. His death was announced by his daughter, who noted his passing was the result of a long illness. Details regarding his final arrangements were kept private by his family. It is not publicly known whether he was buried or cremated, and there is no known public gravesite. Instead, his memorial is his extensive filmography and the legacy of his charitable work. His passing was mourned by the daytime community, which remembered him as a consummate professional and a true gentleman. Lisa Brown was a force of nature in the daytime world. Celebrated for her fiery and complex portrayals of Nola Reardon on Guiding Light and Iva Snyder on As the World Turns. She joined the cast of ATWT in 1985, creating the character of Iva, the salt-of-the-earth, long-lost half-sister of Lily Snyder. Eva was a fiercely protective mother and a passionate woman whose storylines were filled with drama and heart. One of her most memorable plots involved the revelation that she was the biological mother of Margot Hughes, a secret that rocked two of Oakdale's core families. Brown's performance was always grounded in a raw, emotional honesty that made Iva a beloved and relatable character. She was also a talented acting coach, guiding many young performers in the industry. After a brief and private battle with cancer, Lisa Brown passed away on November 24, 2021, at the age of 67. Her death was a deep loss for the soap opera community, where she was admired not only for her immense talent, but also for her warmth and generosity as a mentor and friend. Her passing was announced by her family, who celebrated her vibrant spirit and her dedication to her craft. Following her death, Lisa Brown was cremated, and her final arrangements were kept private. Her ashes were given to her family, and there is no public monument or grave. Her legacy lives on in the powerful performances she left behind, and in the careers of the many actors she coached and inspired. She remains an unforgettable part of the golden era of daytime television. James Rebhorn was one of Hollywood's most recognizable and respected character actors, with a career that spanned hundreds of roles in film, television, and theater. He was known for his ability to play authority figures, from stern fathers and doctors to cunning lawyers and politicians, in films like Scent of a Woman and Independence Day, and on TV shows like Homeland. Early in his career, he had a recurring role on As the World Turns from 1988 to 1991 as the villainous Henry Lang. Henry was the abusive stepfather of Duke Kramer, and Rebhorn brought a chilling and memorable intensity to the part. His performance was a standout, showcasing the immense talent that would make him a ubiquitous and sought-after actor for the next 2 decades. Rebhorn had been battling melanoma since 1992, a fight he waged privately while continuing his prolific work schedule. He passed away from the disease at his home in South Orange, New Jersey on March 21, 2014, at the age of 65. He died surrounded by his family, having entered hospice care in his final days. Shortly before his death, he penned his own obituary, a moving and humble reflection on a life filled with love for his family and his craft. James Rebhorn was cremated, and his ashes were given to his family. There is no public grave or final resting place. His self-written obituary, published after his death, serves as his final eloquent statement, and his incredible body of work stands as the enduring monument to his talent and dedication. Clarice Blackburn was a veteran actress of the stage and a pioneer of early television, with a long and distinguished career in daytime drama. She appeared on numerous soaps, including Guiding Light and All My Children, but she was a particularly familiar face to viewers of As the World Turns. Over the years, she played several different roles on the show, most notably the part of Marion Connolly in the 1960s and early 70s. Marion was the housekeeper for the Hughes family, a role that placed her at the very center of Oakdale's most prominent family. Blackburn brought a quiet strength and warmth to the character, making her a trusted and steady presence in a household often filled with drama. Her work exemplified the talented character actors who formed the backbone of daytime television for decades. Clarice Blackburn passed away at the age of 74 on August 5, 1995, at New York's Lenox Hill Hospital. Her death was the result of a long battle with cancer. She had continued to work almost until the end of her life, a testament to her dedication to her craft. After a private funeral service, she was buried in her family's plot in the historic Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York. This sprawling, beautiful cemetery is a National Historic Landmark and the final resting place for many famous New Yorkers. Her grave is marked by a modest family headstone, a simple and dignified tribute shared with her loved ones. It provides a peaceful final resting place for an actress who was a constant and comforting presence on television screens for more than 40 years. While her name is forever etched in cinematic history as the menacing Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, Margaret Hamilton was also a prolific character actress who graced the small screen, including a stop in the fictional town of Oakdale. In 1967, she took on a brief role in As the World Turns, stepping in as a temporary replacement for the character of Miss Peterson. Her appearance was a treat for viewers, who got to see the iconic actress in a contemporary setting, trading her witch's hat for the everyday drama of a soap opera. Though her time on the show was short, it remains a fascinating piece of trivia for fans of both the classic film and the long-running daytime drama, linking two very different worlds of American entertainment. Margaret Hamilton passed away on May 16, 1985, at the age of 82. She died in her sleep after suffering a heart attack at a nursing home in Salisbury, Connecticut, where she had been residing. Known for her sharp wit and kind heart, which stood in stark contrast to her most famous role, she was beloved by those who knew her. Following her death, in accordance with her wishes, she was cremated. Her ashes were not interred in a cemetery, but were scattered over the fields of her beloved farm in Amenia, New York. This choice of a final resting place was deeply personal, returning her to the land she had loved and worked on. There is no public grave or monument for fans to visit. Instead, her memorial is the joyous fright she has given to generations of moviegoers and her extensive body of work. Helen Wagner is a legend in the annals of television history for one simple, incredible reason. She was the original matriarch of As the World Turns, Nancy Hughes, and she held the role for an astonishing 54 years. She spoke the very first line of dialogue on the show's premiere on April 2, 1956. "Good morning, dear." And she was still on the show when it concluded its run in 2010. This earned her a Guinness World Record for the longest tenure playing a single role on television. Nancy Hughes was the bedrock of Oakdale, the loving wife of Chris, a devoted mother and grandmother, and the keeper of the family's moral compass. Through all the decades of changing tastes and dramatic storylines, she remained a constant, comforting presence. Her portrayal of Nancy was a masterclass in understated strength and enduring love. Helen Wagner taped her final scenes for the show just a month and a half before her passing. She died peacefully from cancer on May 1, 2010, at the age of 91. Her death came just months before the show she had called home for over half a century would air its final episode, a poignant end to an unparalleled era. Following a private funeral, she was cremated. Her ashes were then interred alongside those of her beloved husband of 68 years, producer and director Robert Willey, who had passed away the previous year. Their final resting place is a niche in the columbarium of the Garden of the Resurrection, at the St. Thomas Episcopal Church in Mamaroneck, New York. It is a serene and peaceful place of rest, a humble tribute to the woman who was, for 54 years, the heart and soul of Oakdale. Patricia Bruder was a beloved fixture on As the World Turns for nearly 4 decades. She originated the role of Ellen Lowell in 1960 and played the character, with some breaks, all the way until 1998. Ellen was the daughter of Judge Lowell and was involved in countless major storylines over the years. She endured a famously troubled marriage to Dr. David Stewart, raised her children, and became a resilient and compassionate core character. Bruder's performance was defined by its warmth and sincerity. She portrayed Ellen as a woman of immense grace and inner strength, a loving mother and a loyal friend who navigated the endless tragedies and triumphs of Oakdale with a quiet dignity. For generations of viewers, she was a constant, comforting, and familiar presence, a true cornerstone of the show. After her long tenure on the show, Patricia Bruder lived a relatively private life. She passed away on May 14, 2023, at the age of 84. Her death was announced by her family and was met with an outpouring of affection from fans who had watched her on their screens for so many years. The details of her passing and her final arrangements were kept private by her family. It is not publicly known if she was buried or cremated, and there is no known public gravesite where fans can pay their respects. Her enduring legacy is her remarkable 38-year run on As the World Turns, which places her among the longest tenured actors in the show's history. Her portrayal of Ellen remains a vital and cherished part of the rich tapestry of Oakdale. While Michael Zaslow is overwhelmingly remembered for his iconic Emmy-winning performance as the magnificently villainous Roger Thorpe on Guiding Light, his extensive daytime career began with a significant role on As the World Turns. From 1974 to 1975, he played the part of Dr. Peter Chernak. This early role allowed him to showcase the intensity and charisma that would later make him a superstar of the genre. His time in Oakdale was a crucial stepping stone, honing the skills that he would use to create one of the most unforgettable characters in soap opera history. Zaslow was a powerful and committed actor who brought a deep intelligence to every part he played. In 1997, Zaslow was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. He was tragically fired from Guiding Light because the producers reportedly mistook his symptoms for a drinking problem. In response, he became a fierce and public advocate for ALS awareness. His struggle was bravely chronicled in the press, and he even took on a role on One Life to Live, playing a character also battling a neurological disorder. Michael Zaslow passed away from the disease on December 6, 1998, at his home in New York City. He was just 56 years old. Following a memorial service, he was buried at the Wilshire Hills Cemetery in Media, Pennsylvania, a suburb of his native Philadelphia. His grave is marked by a simple, upright granite headstone bearing his name, dates, and the Star of David. It is a quiet final resting place for a man whose final years were a testament to courage in the face of unimaginable adversity. Nancy Marchand was a formidable and highly respected actress of stage and screen, whose career culminated in her iconic Emmy-winning role as the cunning matriarch Livia Soprano on The Sopranos. But long before she was plotting against her son Tony, she was a staple of New York-based television, including soap operas. In the 1970s, she appeared on As the World Turns in the recurring role of Teresa Lamont. While not a principal character, her presence added a touch of prestige to the show. Her ability to convey intelligence, authority, and complexity was evident even then, foreshadowing the powerful performances that would define the later stages of her illustrious career. Her time in daytime was part of a long journey that saw her master every medium she worked in. Nancy Marchand passed away on June 18, 2000, just one day shy of her 72nd birthday. She died at her home in Stratford, Connecticut, from a combination of lung cancer and emphysema. Her death occurred between the second and third seasons of The Sopranos and was famously written into the show. After a funeral service that celebrated her remarkable life and career, she was buried in the historic Union Cemetery in her hometown of Stratford. Her grave is marked by a simple, flat stone that lies flush with the ground. It bears her name, her years of life, and the names of her husband, actor Paul Sperrer, and their children. It is a humble and modest final resting place for an actress of such immense power and influence, a quiet tribute to a truly unforgettable talent. Barnard Hughes was a beloved Tony and Emmy award-winning actor whose warm, grandfatherly presence made him a favorite on stage and screen for decades. He was widely known for his titular role in the sitcom Doc, his part in the film The Lost Boys, and his many guest appearances on shows like All in the Family. But before much of that fame, he was a working actor in New York, and like many of his peers, he spent time in the world of daytime drama. In the 1960s, he had a role on As the World Turns as Dr. Bruce Nolan, a kind and caring physician in Oakdale. The part was a perfect fit for Hughes, allowing him to portray the sort of wise and compassionate character that would become his trademark, offering a steadying presence amidst the town's constant turmoil. After a long and distinguished career, Barnard Hughes passed away from natural causes on July 11, 2006, at the age of 90. He died at New York Presbyterian Hospital after a brief illness. He was survived by his wife of 56 years, actress Helen Steinborg, and their 2 children. A memorial service was held in New York City, attended by a host of friends and colleagues from the theater and film communities. Following the service, Barnard Hughes was cremated. His ashes were not interred in a public cemetery or columbarium. They were given to his wife and family for their private keeping. His legacy is his remarkable and versatile body of work, and the memory of a man who was as genuinely kind and wise as the many characters he so famously portrayed. Santos Ortega was a true pioneer of broadcasting, with a career that began in the golden age of radio. He was the voice of iconic characters like Charlie Chan and Bulldog Drummond before seamlessly transitioning to television. For fans of As the World Turns, he was, for nearly 2 decades, the original patriarch of the Hughes family, Will "Pa" Hughes. From the show's debut in 1956 until his death in 1976, Ortega portrayed the wise and gentle grandfather who offered sage advice and a comforting presence to his children and grandchildren. His calm and steady performance grounded the show in its early years, establishing the Hughes family as the bedrock of the Oakdale community. He was the show's original moral compass. Ortega continued to work on the show well into his 70s, even as his health began to fail. He passed away on April 10, 1976, at the age of 76. His death was a significant moment in the show's history, and his character, Pa Hughes, was also written to have passed away, allowing the cast and the audience to mourn together. Following a funeral service in New York, Santos Ortega was laid to rest at Broward Memorial Gardens, now known as Forest Lawn Memorial Gardens, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. His grave is marked by a simple bronze plaque set in the ground, bearing his name and years of life. It is a modest and humble tribute to a man whose career spanned the evolution of modern media, and who, for 20 years, was the beloved grandfather of Oakdale. For 38 years, Catherine Hayes was the heart of patience and resilience in Oakdale as the beloved Kim Sullivan Hughes. She joined the cast in 1972 and remained a central figure until the show's final episode in 2010. Kim was the steadfast wife of Dr. Bob Hughes, a loving mother, and a woman who navigated some of daytime's most dramatic storylines with an unparalleled grace. From her early, controversial romance with Bob to dealing with her son's paralysis and her own amnesia, Kim was a character who endured. Hayes portrayed her with a quiet strength, a gentle spirit, and a deep well of compassion that made her one of the most beloved heroines in the show's history. Her partnership with Don Hastings as Bob and Kim became the show's central, enduring love story for decades. Catherine Hayes passed away on March 25, 2022, in Fairfield, Connecticut, at the age of 88. Her death was announced by her family and was met with a tremendous outpouring of love and grief from her former co-stars and fans around the world. Following a private service for her family, Catherine Hayes was cremated. Her final wishes were for her ashes to be kept by her daughter, and they were not interred in a public cemetery. Her final resting place is therefore a private family matter. While there is no grave for fans to visit, her true monument is her incredible 4-decade run on As the World Turns. Her portrayal of Kim Hughes remains a masterclass in understated, heartfelt acting and a cherished part of television history. Don McLaughlin was the original leading man of As the World Turns and the unwavering patriarch of the Hughes family for 3 decades. From the show's first episode on April 2, 1956, until his final appearance shortly before his death in 1986, he played the role of attorney Chris Hughes. Chris was the epitome of integrity and strength, the moral center around which the entire town of Oakdale revolved. His calm demeanor and wise counsel guided his family and friends through every imaginable crisis. For 30 years, McLaughlin's face was synonymous with the show itself. His on-screen partnership with Helen Wagner, who played his wife Nancy, created the most enduring and beloved couple in the history of the genre, setting the standard for every soap opera family that followed. McLaughlin worked on the show until the very end of his life, taping his last scenes just weeks before his death. He passed away after a brief illness on May 28, 1986, at the age of 79. His death was a monumental loss for the show and its viewers. The character of Chris Hughes was also written to have died, with the show airing a deeply moving memorial episode that served as a tribute to both the character and the actor. After a funeral service, Don McLaughlin was buried in the historic Worcester Cemetery in Danbury, Connecticut. His grave is marked by a modest, upright granite headstone that he shares with his wife. It simply bears his name and years, an understated final tribute to an actor who was, for 30 years, the foundational rock of As the World Turns. Forrest Compton was a familiar face to television viewers for more than half a century, but he was best known to soap opera fans for his long-running role as the noble and steadfast attorney Mike Carr on The Edge of Night, a part he played for over a decade. However, his daytime career also included a significant tenure on As the World Turns. In the 1970s, he played the character of Dr. John Morrison, and he later returned to the show from 2003 to 2004 in the role of Dr. Eric Davison. In both roles, he brought a sense of quiet authority and dependability, traits that made him a beloved and trusted presence on screen. His career was a testament to the steady, reliable work of a true television professional. Forrest Compton spent his later years on Shelter Island, New York, a place he dearly loved. He passed away on April 4, 2020, at the age of 94. His death was one of the early casualties of the COVID-19 pandemic, attributed to complications from the virus. His passing was a shock to his community, where he was a well-known and active resident. A memorial service was held for him at a later date due to the pandemic restrictions at the time. Following his wishes, Forrest Compton was cremated. His final resting place is a private family matter, as his ashes were given to his loved ones. His legacy is his decades-long career as a dependable actor and the memory of a kind man who was a cherished member of his small island community. Benjamin Hendrickson was a Juilliard-trained actor who brought a profound depth and soulfulness to his role as the steadfast police chief Hal Munson on As the World Turns. He played the part for over 20 years, from 1985 to 2006, winning the Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in 2003. Hal was the moral center of Oakdale's law enforcement, a devoted husband to Barbara Ryan and a loving father. Hendrickson imbued the character with a gentle strength, a weary integrity, and a surprising wit. He was a fan favorite, a dependable hero in a town that desperately needed one. His Emmy-winning storyline, which involved his reaction to his son's coming out, was praised for its sensitivity and brilliant acting. Tragically, Benjamin Hendrickson battled with depression for many years. On July 3, 2006, he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound at his home in Huntington, New York. He was 56 years old. His death was a devastating shock to his castmates, the show's crew, and his millions of fans. The show paid tribute to him with a series of on-air memorial episodes where the character of Hal Munson was also laid to rest after dying in the line of duty. Following a private funeral, Benjamin Hendrickson was buried at the Cemetery of the Holyrood in Westbury, New York. His grave is located in the St. Francis section of the cemetery and is marked by a simple, flat bronze plaque. It is a quiet and unassuming final tribute to a deeply gifted actor whose private pain was hidden behind a beloved public persona. Irene Daly was a distinguished actress of stage and screen, winning a Tony Award for her work on Broadway. But for millions of daytime viewers, she was the unforgettable and formidable Liz Matthews on Another World. However, before that iconic role, she had a significant, long-running part on As the World Turns. From 1969 to 1972, she played the role of the troubled and often manipulative Nettie Cleary. Her performance was powerful and intense, showcasing the dramatic prowess that would make her a legend in the genre. She brought a theatrical weight to her characters, creating complex women who were often at the center of the storm. Her time in Oakdale was an important chapter in her journey to becoming a daytime television icon. After a long and celebrated career, Irene Daly passed away on September 24, 2008, at a healthcare facility in Santa Rosa, California, at the age of 88. Her death was attributed to colon cancer, an illness she had battled with her characteristic strength. In accordance with her final wishes, she chose not to have a traditional burial. Irene Daly was cremated, and her ashes were scattered in the beautiful Pacific Ocean. It was a final act that reflected a life lived with a certain bohemian and artistic spirit. There is no grave or monument to visit, which was her preference. Her lasting memorial is her incredible body of work on Broadway and her powerful, unforgettable performances that helped define the golden age of the American soap opera.